and YouTube.
We are live. Just waiting for it to pop up live so I can share.
Going real quick. There you go. We are live.
Awesome.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome 6 p.m. in Sydney and 8 in New
8
Zealand.
in New Zealand. Yes, it sure is.
I hope you all are having a good week, a week before Easter. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, for the ones that don't know, my name is Pedro. I am your physical health coach at Vita. And right next to me,
Daryl, your emotional health coach.
okay, and today we are answering this question right here. How can I cope with the anxiety of persistent lower back pain? So, chronic lower back pain isn't just a physical issue, it deeply affects your emotional well being too. So, feeling anxious, stressed, or fearful of every movement becomes common, making life feel limited and frustrating. So, tonight, Daryl will guide you through the emotional side, provide you tools to ease anxiety and foster emotional resilience. And I will give you practical ways to physically manage and reduce this pain, empowering you to feel confident and capable again. Okay, so I'm gonna share 4 points, and Daryl will probably share 4 points too. Do you want to get started?
Yeah, and I'm going to do my first couple together, well, 1.5, because first I want to just define what the problem is here, right? Because as you mentioned, there's a physical aspect and then there's also the mental emotional aspect. So the question is, if we have anxiety and lower back pain, are we saying that we just happen to have both, or are we getting anxiety because we have pain? So I'm assuming that that's the angle that we're going to go from. And what's going to be happening there is that you're anticipating pain episodes. And if you're worrying about, oh, shit, I'm going to be in pain, then you're going to have a shit time. Or maybe you're not worrying about the pain itself, but you're worrying about, how's that going to affect my life? Am I going to be able to sit in the car? Am I going to be able to go to work? Am I going to be able to do the things I need to do? So maybe you're worrying about that and how that affects your life. And with anxiety, what we find is that we're mentally rehearsing these things that may or may not happen and how we might or might not cope with it, right? So this causes our nervous system to be dysregulated. We're thinking about it and we start worrying. So my first main point is, there are some things that you can do. There's definitely things you can do from an emotional perspective. And the first one is to reframe the situation. And to do that, we've talked about it before, you have to divide pain and suffering into two different things. Suffering is the emotional response to pain. So you can be in pain and not suffer. And you could suffer with little pain. Anybody with a paper cut that's just going, ah, you've probably seen that before, right? Studies from the British Journal of Hypnosis show that reframing, so just changing how you think about fear or anxiety, can reduce it by a third. So just by thinking about it differently, you can reduce anxiety by up to a third. So how do you know if it's pain or anxiety that's actually causing the problem for you? Well, we're a big fan of like ranking how we feel out of 10. So we'll do this again. Rank your pain out of 10. If it's high, you need some physical support of some kind. You need to deal with the pain. If you can also rank the suffering out of 10. So you might be like, have a day where you're 5 out of in pain, but you're really suffering for it. You just can't be putting up with it anymore.
Mm.
Or likewise, you might have a really high pain day, but lots of stuff is going on, you're in a good mood, and you're not suffering. So separately rank the suffering out of 10 if it's high emotional support is needed. Okay.
Mm.
So just think you might need both, you might need one or the other. And your goal could be, if you're a person that gets anxious about lower back pain, to not suffer when there is pain. Of course, pain elimination is the goal, and we're going to help you with that. But when the pain is there, why don't you make it a goal in the meantime not to suffer?
Mm.
Vida's going to help you with this. Now, Pedro, I will throw it back to you.
Cool. Um, I think it's important to understand that anxiety is basically living in the future. Yeah. So when you have anxiety to move, you basically have to dial back to the present. You have to be here now because we are made to move. Yeah. And the reason why you think you can't move is just your brain because you can. Okay. Now, I want to talk about some gentle movements for anxiety relief. Okay, so anxiety often causes us to stop moving due to the fear of pain, but gentle, structured movement actually calms your nervous system. Again, movement is the best medicine. Okay, so maybe try simple movements like pelvic tilts or gentle cats and cow stretches. Not so much the movement itself, but it's basically you gently reassuring your brain and your body that it's okay to move without pain. This way, you shift your perspective to the present and you can reduce the fear based anxiety. So, here I want to show you a couple of exercises from the Vita Method. Okay, so this is our 90-day back pain mastery. This is a workout. Okay, so this is one of the days where we get you to move and exercise your body. Um, so the cats and cows is basically this exercise here. Round your back, inhale, and then exhale as you round again, moving up and down. So what this will do is basically just move your lower back area, which is going to allow your body to send nutrients and oxygen. Your lower back is going to expel waste products from that area, which helps with the recovery. Okay. Again, if you are experiencing a lot of pain, you don't go all out moving, doing whatever. You have to be really aware of what causes you more or less pain. Okay. So if for example, let's see cats and cows. Yeah. Ask yourself this question. What is my pain level now from 1 to 10? It might be a 6 or 7. Yeah. Then you try to do the movement. So you're going to start with a neutral spine. I'm going to try to match it here. No, this is not neutral. There you go. So this is neutral. Okay. You assess what is the pain level from 1 to 10. It's maybe a 5. Okay. Okay. So let's try to move. When you move, does the pain increases? No. Okay. So it's safe to move. Let's move the other way. Let's go all the way up. How's the pain now? It's the same? Okay, cool. So you are safe to move within this range. Now, if you keep on moving, you're going to warm up the area of your lower back, and the pain drops from a 5 to then a 3. Yeah, because now I have more blood in the area, everything's heated. So the pain signals kind of reduces it. Yeah. So you can start moving. Another exercise that you could do is this one here. You're gonna lie down on the floor with your feet on top of the sofa, yeah? And then driving through your heels, you're gonna lift your hips up, okay? The goal here is to make a straight line, shoulder, hips, and knees. Pause at the top, squeeze your glute. Ask yourself the question, what is the pain level now from 1 to 10? So while you're moving, while you're exercising, it's really important to be here, now, present. So you can always ask yourself, How is my pain? What is the pain level right now? And then you keep on moving. If the pain decreases, great, you are on the right track. This is another one. I just wanted to share the third one here. This is called the 90-90. Again, seated on the floor. You're going to drive both knees down towards the floor to one side and all the way to the other. Okay? So this is like very simple, basic exercises that anyone can do that will help with your back pain. Okay? So that was my point one. On to you, Daryl.
Fantastic. And that the act of doing any physical movement and paying attention to what it is that you're doing also is a form of mindfulness.
Mm,
And as we know, mindfulness is going to calm down the amygdala, which is the part of your brain that signals to the body to go into fight or flight. So it's going to, just the act of paying attention to your body, paying attention to your movements, is also going to have an emotional effect. Because when we have pain and when we have anxiety, there's actually a loop that goes on. So there's a
mm,
loop where the pain signal comes up to the brain responds, and it sends signals back to the body, and it can just create more and more pain and more anxiety. In 2019, there was a study in the journal Pain Medicine, and it found that chronic pain boosts cortisol. This is your stress hormone by up to
mm,
40%. This makes your brain really sensitive. So something that wouldn't normally be too sore is going to be more sore.
mm,
Something that's going to be, I don't know, 10 out of 10 pain is going to be 14 out of 10 pain. It
mhm,
has that big an effect, okay? So anxiety leads to cortisol. You're worrying about being in pain, so cortisol is produced as well. Pain is producing cortisol, and anxiety is producing cortisol. And both of these are telling your brain that the pain is worse than it is. So this makes you more anxious. And now you're just in this loop where you're just getting worse and worse and worse. It is a vicious cycle. But here's the good news: you are not stuck. Just recognizing that back pain is emotional as much as physical is step one. When you
mm,
have information, you can make choices.
mm.
So, the first way to stop this loop is to act physically upon your body in the way that Pedro just described. Pay attention to your body, start moving it, start warming it up. And the next way is to work directly on the anxiety. So, I'll come back to that in a bit. Back to you, Pedro.
So that this is a good segue into the next one. So instant relief through breath work. Okay, so if you are anxious, breathing is another way that you can use to bring you back to the present. Yeah, make you more aware of how you feel about the pain as well. So focusing on your breathing, it will calm your nervous system. Okay. So let's talk about how breathing impacts how safe our brain perceives us to be. So breathing is something really important. Yeah. So if we are in danger, we tend to breathe faster. So breathing faster sends a signal to our brain saying that we are not safe. Now, why is this important? Thousands of years ago, when we were hunter and gatherers, we used to encounter a dangerous situation with a, I don't know, a lion, whatever. Yeah, it was dangerous. So we start to breathe faster to send a signal to our brain to say that we are unsafe. Because we are unsafe, it tightens all the body, all the muscles in the body. Yeah, cortisol level goes up. We are very sensitive to everything. Now, this is important because it allowed us to survive as human species. Okay. Now, if you are busy, if you are stressed, if you are always anxious, you don't have enough time to realize or to think about how you're breathing and how you're perceiving the day. You might be breathing faster. This is sending a signal to your brain saying that you are unsafe, spiking cortisol levels. So, how do we beat that? We need to tell our brains that we are safe. How do we do it? By breathing. Okay. So, controlled breathing directly soothes anxiety by signaling that you to your body that you are safe. Try this. Inhale for 4 seconds. Count in your head. Inhale. 3, 4. Exhale for 8. Count all the way to 8. Do that a few times, yeah? This will do both. It will calm your nervous system and it will ease your anxiety and muscle tension, okay? So it could allow you to feel less pain just by breathing, okay? So this is not a thing that you can do to your body if you are under pain. On to you, Daryl.
I'm sorry, I'm too relaxed to talk now. I'm very relaxed with the breathing. The more you practice the breathing, the easier it becomes to just fully relax with the breath. So the next thing we want to think of from an emotional perspective is to compound these different things that we're going to do to stop the anxiety pain loop, but from the anxiety side, okay? So from the emotional side, you start by making a list. Get a pen and paper, a notepad, and start writing down all the things that you know that you feel better when you do them. So for example, the breathing. Write down the type of breathing that you like. When you're stressed, it's easy to forget all the things that you could do to mitigate that stress. If you know there are certain times that pain flares up for you and you're anxious leading up to these times, then rehearse going through it. I'll take you through that later. You can also learn new techniques to deal with anxiety. So, proven techniques like mindfulness and hypnosis, just 5 minutes a day is enough to help significantly. I've got a little thing you can do right now if you like. So, even if you don't currently have any pain or anxiety, why don't you take a moment just to learn this super quick technique that is going to dissipate some of the nervous energy in your body? And it's as simple as this. Start those slow breaths in any way you like. Just breathe in. Hold the breath at the top. And while the breath at the top, just start tensing your muscles. Now, you don't want to tense anything that's going to give you a lot of pain. So maybe just your arms or your legs. And then when you breathe out slowly, relax your muscles. And then breathe in and then maybe tense your feet and your legs. Just hold it for a moment. Hold that tension. And then when you breathe out, relax the muscles in your legs. And what it's going to do, just with the next breath, maybe you're going to hold the core, is it's going to mimic shaking that mammals do after a stressful event when we're dissipating adrenaline and anxiety. And you should already start to feel relaxed. Now, next time, we're just going to do one more thing. We're going to think of a phrase of the mindset we want to be in. So maybe strong, powerful, relaxed, empowered, calm, anything at all that you want to feel. And then close your eyes and take a deep breath in. Now tense all the muscles you can in your body. All at the same time. Repeat that word over and over. Powerful, strong, whatever your word is. And then when you breathe out, relax, powerful, strong. Do that 3 or 4 times. It doesn't take long. Focus on areas in your body where there's tension. So if you've got tension in your lower back, try clenching your lower back a little bit gently. The tension's in your legs, do it there. You could do it in your face if you've got tension in your jaw. You might look a bit silly, but as you can see, if you tense things well, you'll start to shake a little bit, and that's just going to burn off that anxiety. Okay, so there's lots of different things you can do, but give it a go. If you like it, remember it. If you don't like it, try something else. Find out what works for you. I'll come back with some more tips, but back to you just now, Pedro.
That's great. That's great. Coming back to movement, so things won't happen or you won't solve your problem overnight. Yeah. So you've got to expose your body to a progressive movement. Okay. So every day, maybe spare 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the afternoon just to start moving your body because your range of motion might be very limited in the beginning. And the more you expose your body to that range increases. Yeah. And that's what we want. So gradually reintroducing movements you've been avoiding is key. But start small, like slightly bending over, just until you start to feel some sort of pain. Stop there, and then you come back. Or maybe taking even short walks. Try to speed up your walk and slowly building up. Okay, so this will build physical confidence and it will safely break the cycle of anxiety and helps your body to relearn pain-free movement. Okay, so again, we want to bring it you back from the future to the present more often. This will reduce the anxiety. On to you.
Awesome. These points, if you put them all together, are you starting to see, guys, how you're going to get those results that you want? It's the combination. These things build on top of each other. So let's keep going. How else can we cope? So again, the question here is around anxiety, anxiety about pain. Okay, so you've got back pain, it's high, makes you anxious. How do you cope? One amazing way to cope, and this is one of my favorite ways, is mental rehearsal. And
Mhm.
it's like Pedro was just saying about the kind of systematically desensitizing yourself, trying a little bit more, and then stopping if it's too much, and then trying a little bit more, go a little bit faster. What you can do if you're anxious about pain popping up at certain times is rehearse in your mind going through that event. So, such as, maybe you've got to go on a car journey or be on a flight, or you've got to have a long day on your feet, and visualize getting through it. Whether you're in pain, whether you're not in pain, just
Mhm.
visualize that you get to the end, that you do make it, and that you're okay. You're still alive, you're safe. Do this several times and it rehearses the brain for whatever happens. Even if you're in pain, if you rehearse getting through that pain, then you're not going to be as anxious about it coming up and you're not going to hate it as much when it happens because your brain's going to be like, oh, I know what this is. This is familiar. We get through this. I know what the end looks like. So sometimes anxiety is high when in pain, not only from pain itself, but from how we process it, how we think about it. But there's other things too. And I find often in the medical field and even in the complementary field, we can be a bit shy about bringing up these subjects. So I want to just go straight to them. If you are drinking too much alcohol, then it's gonna make you anxious. Yes, you might feel a little bit better right now with that glass of wine, but tomorrow you will be more anxious. There is a rebound effect from every drink you have. I'm sorry, the studies that say alcohol is good for you are lying to you. Of course, it doesn't mean you can't have one or enjoy one, but if you're suffering from a lot of anxiety, think about reducing it as far as possible. Bad food choices are going to make you anxious as well. Too much sugar is just going to cause a big rush in your body. Too much of the wrong kind of junk food. Too much food that gives you hits of dopamine and makes you feel really happy when you eat it, like cake or pies or cheese or whatever it is. This can have a rebound effect as well, making you feel like shit after. Maybe your relationships are suffering. Maybe there's a work relationship or a relationship at home, and this is causing you anxiety. Remember, because of the looping, something that causes you more anxiety can cause you more pain, which can cause more anxiety, cause more pain, and things can
Mhm.
just get worse and worse. Maybe it's sleep and you're not sleeping well. This is making it hard to regulate your emotions. If you don't have enough sleep, then the part of sleep that you miss out on is usually the part that helps you regulate anxiety and emotions. That happens at the end of your sleep mostly. So you're going to be more anxious. All of these different things and many, many, many more things can lead to high anxiety, which can make it hard to cope with back pain and make you more anxious about those pain episodes. So if these are happening to any of these things are happening to you, you have to deal with them. You have to make a plan and deal with them. Just write down the things that make you anxious or write down things in your life and put some steps down. What am I going to do? Now, the Vita
Mhm.
Method is going to talk you through a lot of things, but maybe you need to go and see your GP or a counselor or join a community. We have a community, free to join, jump in, ask questions, connect with people. And the other option is, of course, just keep watching, keep learning, keep adding to it, and taking the advice that we're giving you for free. Just take this, run with it, and apply it to your life. Back to you, Pedro.
Yeah, I think this is perfect because it comes back to my last point, which is you've got to do the work. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's no other way around it. Like yes, alcohol might make things worse. Sugar might make things worse. Exercise might make things worse. Stretches might make things worse. Now, only you can tell which one of these things will make you feel better. But in order for that to happen, you've got to apply a curious mindset. You've got to try. You've got to be here in the present. You got to fight your anxiety. Yeah, only you can tell those things and only you can do the work. We're here to guide you. We'll give you all the resources you need, all the info, all the education, so you can make better informed decisions. If you want to move but don't know where to start, we can help you too. We've got a community, like Daryl was saying, with other women going through the same thing as you are going through. So you've got to do the work, but it's doable. Okay. Try to do daily movements. Try to find out what works for you, what doesn't work for you. um yeah, also because movement will reduce muscle tension, will ease stress, and will gently encourage you in your mind to trust your body's abilities again, because you're young, you've got a lot of life to live. So don't be scared to do the work. Do it now and live better later. Yeah. Um, so yeah, just to conclude this, yeah. Remember, the key to reduce anxiety around lower back pain is gentle, consistent action, whether that's mind or body. Okay. Your body is resilient, is capable, and ready to heal one movement at a time. You got to give it time. Okay. um and I think that's all I had to say for today. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if you've watched this back, let us know if your anxiety reduces after applying these tools. And we look forward to seeing some of you inside Back Pain Relief Hub. And yeah, if you're keen, jump in and do the quiz and buy Vita. Give it a try.
Yes. Thank you for joining. If you have any questions, just type it below here on the comments so we can see, and then maybe the next live session could be about your question. So thank you for joining. Enjoy your holidays, and I'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Yeah. It's in stream.